What's up, YouTube? Today we finally did the transition. The character is finally completed. I am a full-fledged aura stacker. It was kind of a struggle. My friend did decide that he could no longer play the league because of work obligations, so he sold some of his gear and I was able to put together a really rudimentary budget aura stacker set. I would estimate it around probably 25x or 30x maybe. But I pretty much bought all the most budget stuff because, as you can see from my currency tab, I am completely out of currency. But I did defer 2 alluring bounties in a ritual, so we still have that to look forward to. So we will have some extra currency from that. But basically today's video, I found out a couple things. And one of the things is that you no longer need a pressure flask anymore to play the game. So you never need to press any of these flasks. Like right now, I could play the game with my left hand here. Like my left hand is here, and I will go into Blood Aqueducts, and all the flasks will trigger. And you can see real fast what I mean by this. So my left hand is here, or I guess it looks like my right hand, but you play and look, all the flasks are up. I'm running through the zone. The flasks are still up. And yeah, you go to the next plaque. The flasks are still up. So this is what it's called, auto flask or whatever you want to call it. But this is the new real quality of life league. And I think once they fix some of the ailment stuff like they said they would, this league will probably be a complete game changer in changing up the game's pacing. And also making it so that Flask piano is truly done with, because there's only one person playing the piano right now. And it is the game's robot engine that perfectly pressed the flask at the opportunistic time. And it's actually kind of crazy, right? And I'm going to go over how exactly to do that. And then I'm going to talk about why Aura Stacker still works and how you can play Spark without Malevolence. A lot of people think, and I am a person who probably contributed to the problem of saying that you have to have Malevolence to play Spark, but I really wanted to play Spark. It is the skill of the league, I think. If you had to put a skill that will probably become the face of the league, it will probably be Spark in the long run. So I wanted to try it out. I wanted to do it as much of a budget as possible, and I wanted to talk about how I did the transition and what you can do to make your transition as smooth as possible too. So first of all, I'm going to go over the gear overview, and then I'll talk about the flask. As is customary in the build diary videos, I will be always doing the build and / gear overview. So I'm going to go over each of the stuff bit by bit. So we have the Nebulous here. Now it's the same Nebulous. I bought it actually for 2.5 or 3 Exalts. This is a piece of gear that if you wait a little bit, it will become a lot cheaper. And yeah, I think mine is pretty fair. I think mana regen is probably a pretty underrated stat. If you think about the previous boot enchants that people would use to be able to cast their spell, it was only 70%, right? And I think right now the boot enchant is only like 25 to 30. And mana regen is a huge issue, so that's why I decided to stick with this enchant on it. Or not, this implicit, right? So it's 18% cast speed. Make sure the explicit rolls are really well rolled. In a lot of cases, the explicit is more important than the implicit. Now, the best roll, of course, is double damage for spells, 10%. But this is a pretty nice entry-level Nebulous, and I think the mana regen is actually really beneficial in today's world of having mana issues. Next, we have Alpha's Howl, and I have a Zealotry enchant one. So this one I bought for around, like, I think 1 Exalt. Now, you could probably get this a lot cheaper in the coming days. More and more people will start running lab. You might even see lab runners, and this will be very, very affordable. So now, one thing to keep in mind when you choose an aura enchant for the Alpha's Howl is to make sure the aura is an aura that is reserved on your mana pool. If you do one on your life pool, it will be very, very bad. So make sure to do that. And in this, and the next piece of gear is Prism Guardian. I think this piece runs around like what? 1x, 1.2x or so. Now, ideally, you want to Grace Prism Guardian, but that's probably not going to exist for a long time. Let's see if anyone's even corrupted one. You know, no one has the balls to corrupt it this early on in the league. But nice thing to see is this item is actually a lot cheaper than last league. So Amulet here is pretty much, I just bought a Redeemer Amulet. And then, actually I just bought this as a base for like 40C or 30C. And then I put Champion of the Cause on it, which costs around 70C. So this amulet rounds like 1.2x or so, and then I crafted on %ES. I think you can also craft on projectile speed, which could be something to do, but my ES is kind of low right now, so I'm going to prioritize on bringing that up. 2 Call of the Brotherhoods, make sure to get it to 48%. And if you want, go for an Aura Implicit Corrupt. Shavs, I should probably bless the shavs. I don't know what I'm doing. So make sure to always bless your items. Give it a nice, perfect roll. So there we go, 10%. There we go, we gain some spell damage, right? Now, if you're trying to go big, you want a +2/+2 shavs, of course. I don't think this is the league for sack of wolves. Maybe really late game. And yeah. So Doriani's Delusion, kind of a bad look not to use Void Walkers, right? But you kind of need a gem slot at the moment, and level 25 Purity is pretty nice of lightning, and it gives you a lot of flat damage to spells and attacks, and it's a lot more ES than... Oh shit, I don't actually have quality on my boots. Okay, I'm trolling, but I will buy some armor scraps. So make sure you quality your boots, quality your helmet. Okay, maybe I should listen to my own advice and quality my own piece of gear. But I will use this boost because it pretty much acts as an aura implicit, either ring or shield. It was really affordable. It was only 80 chaos. But normally, okay, it's very expensive now. So this is an item that usually goes up in price. I remember when aura stackers became more popular last league, this item skyrocketed from... I think I bought it for 50 chaos and it went up to 10x or something. So this is something to keep in mind. Void Walkers +2s are another thing that's pretty good if you're playing Spark, and that could be an option. But this is a belt that I'm using, Darkness Enthroned. So this is how I actually solve my Chaos Res issues. I put 2 Abyss Jewels with Chaos Res. So this is 24%, 75% increased of it. So this gives me around like 40% Chaos Res, while at the same time giving me around like 70 ES. So this is kind of like a Stygian Vise, except there's something here. You can get chance to avoid being poisoned, and avoid being poisoned is pretty big. If you get 2 of these jewels together, you can get 80% chance or 70% chance to avoid being poisoned. Then you can find and make up the next 10% somewhere else as implicits, and then you can make yourself pretty much ailment immune. The name of this game, this league, is trying to get ailment immune by any ways possible to make it as smooth as possible. So right now I have freeze immunity, and I have somewhat a little bit of poison immunity, and then I also have shock immunity. So it actually doesn't say poison avoidance here, so I'm not really sure where you can see that stat, but yeah. Basically, gloves, we want to use Malagaros. In the future, I do think that Hands of the High Templar will be better, especially if you can get a crit and Ellie weakness pair. Now, Smite is pretty big if it's level 30, but right now, Hands of the High Templar are not that expensive, and that's not the main issue. The main issue is double RMR jewels are very, very expensive. Double multi RMR jewels. Now, if you look right here, double multi RMR. I will include the shopping cart. A lot of people asked me for it, and I just wanted to share it. As you can see, it's already 12x. There's never at any time during this league where this jewel was probably around like 50 chaos to 1 chaos. So going this is probably very not feasible for most people unless they have infinite currency, but no one should really have infinite currency at this point of the league. Now, these are the FLASKS that I'm currently using. I think this will be replaced by Bottle of Faith. Bottle of Faith is, I think, relatively actually affordable right now. So let's see how much Bottle of Faith is. I don't really know how long it will be affordable for, but it's around 4.5x. I think Bottle of Faith will actually go up because, let's face it, Bottle of Faith is a FLASK that everyone will use sooner or later. It's 10% more damage, and it's also a sulfur flask. But Overflowing Chalice, so we have Quartz Flask, then we also have Diamond Flask, and then we have Quicksilver Flask. So those are pretty much... I'm going to go over how you make these flasks automatic and how you never need to press these flasks again. I'm going to go over a passive tree real fast. Passive tree is a standard aura stacker tree. Your Might of the Meek here, your Intuitive Leap here. Take all of these influence, every single aura cluster, right here, right here, right here. Then you get the 3 large clusters. Now, in order to get 300%, you actually need to use 1 voices and 2 large clusters. If you had 2 voices, that's even better, and it allows you some more leeway to maybe throw in another cluster for brands if you were playing Stormbrand or something. Now, for the large clusters, I'm using Vengeful Commander Storm Rider, and Storm Rider actually allows you to generate power charges on boss fights. And then I'm also using Vengeful Commander Snowstorm, which is an incredible DPS increase. Another option could be using Vengeful Commander Disorienting Display or Blast Freeze for the Freeze Prolif. Now that is very expensive and it's probably going to cost you like 5x plus. Now, This is where you put hazardous research, and I have a Watcher's Eye for immunity to shock and some pen. And I probably want to get rid of this dex node, so I probably need to make up the dex on a jewel somewhere. So the medium clusters are the same as always, first among replenishing on every single one except 2 of them, which you want Purposeful Harbinger and either replenishing or first among. So I have 2 Purposeful Harbingers, and then the rest are first among replenishing, first among replenishing, first among replenishing. Now these jewels are kind of expensive. They'll probably go for around 1 Exalt. Actually, they're a lot cheaper now. But you want to make sure you get 5 passives. So you see 5 passives is a lot more expensive. The main reason why you want 5 passives is, as you can see, I actually take every single point, and in order to get all the points, that's the only way I'm able to reach 300%, because I'm right at the cusp of 300% right now. So a lot of people ask, what's your resist? Resist is 90%, negative 10% chaos res because of using the belt, 824 ES regen, 1515 when a guardian thing procs, armor at 38%, evasion rating at 47%. So the character is quite tanky. Also have fortify, so pre-fortify, this character has like 20%, so it's around 4k ES, because I didn't use fortify last league. So when you have fortify up, this character is pretty much the same tankiness as my last endgame Penance Brand Aura Stacker, even though it only has 3.5k ES. And that's pretty much just the fortify link. Fortify is a link that I think is underrated, and I actually planned to use last league, but I never got around to really, playing with the concept. Make sure to get Pain Attunement here. But in terms of the jewels, just a Conqueror's Efficiency. I bought a Pure Talent RMR. This one costs 1x. I think it might be a lot more now. Basically, all of this gear will skyrocket in price. Like, this is already 5x. I don't really know if there's any other ones. So it was good to get in early. Then this one here, Conqueror's Potency, I'm using because I'm actually short. Now, if I had another 5-point cluster, I could use something else here instead of this jewel, right? So, but this jewel is not too bad. It has flash supply. You have 8% increased effect. Eventually, I'll probably replace it with another RMR jewel or something like that. Now, this jewel is RMR. This is just like some crit chance and attack and cast speed. This is RMR. And this is how I get my Pierce. I get my Pierce from 2 ways. From Anomalous Spark, which gives me 2 Pierce. Wait, here. It gives me 2 Pierce, and this is 1, so 3 Pierce total. Then another RMR, a Corrupted Blood jewel here. And an RMR jewel here. So you can see there's a lot of room to improve on this build. And this is very basic. Now, a lot of people ask me, how are you able to run all the auras instead of Malevolence, right? So instead of a Malevolence, I dropped Malevolence, which is a 50% aura, and I took these 4 nodes to get 45% duration. Malevolence at 20%, or even level 20, is 57% duration, though this is 45% duration, so it's just 12% duration difference. For making your life a lot easier. Another thing you could do is you could maybe pick up another cluster, or with a notable here that's like Sublime Form, and get more RMR. Or you could just get more RMR on every single jewel, and you can probably run the 50% aura of Malevolence, right? So there's a lot of improvements to this character. I'm not using RMR here or RMR here. So a lot of the improvements will come for getting more skill reservation. Not sure how this will scale into the end game. In the end game, you probably still want Malevolence for sure. And next upgrades I'm going to look for is getting Bottle Faith and getting maybe Gloves and Transcendent Flesh here, or maybe Glorious Vanity. Glorious Vanity would solve a lot of issues. And that would actually probably be one of my next purchases. So we'll see. There's a lot of stuff to do. Now, Spark Link, everyone wants to know. Inspiration, Cold Pen, Spark, Increased Crit Strikes, Arcane Surge, Spell Echo. I think the only thing you could really change out is instead of Arcane Surge, you can use, Pinpoint. But Arcane Surge is such a good link. It's 40% spell damage. And then mana regen, right? But that's pretty much the tree. I will update you guys in the coming days about what upgrades I get and what upgrade paths I think. But it's a pretty good build diary. Start off. Took a long time to farm. Didn't take that long to farm it. But now I want to talk about the important part of the video, which is flasks and how you can never press them again. So this league, they added these new things called, I think it's Kindling Orb or Instilling Orb. So basically you roll it, and then there's 2 things you can hit that will be beneficial for us, which is use when charges reach full, or use when adjacent flask is used. So when you use this flask, it will use this one. So both of them will use when the Quicksilver flask is full. And then this one's the same deal. If this flask gets used when it's full, then this one will get used at the same time. So this will help you roll it be better when rolling it. So you can see every single flask pretty much in essence has used when charges reach full. So the whole reason why you use Overflowing Chalice is so that you can gain charges faster back for these flasks. So when this flask is pressed, you can't gain flask charges for this flask, but all these flasks will pretty much be infinitely full. And then you can press this, and then this flask will slowly fill up when it's out of cooldown after you kill some mobs. And then you start this infinite loop where all these flasks are almost always full as long as you're killing mobs at somewhat decent speed. The main thing to note is that even though it seems like the flasks don't last as long, the main reason why flasks don't last the full time is because most people, myself included, are not efficient when pressing the flask. So say right now I'm pressing Quicksilver flask, it's going down, and then I will press it again before it actually fully runs out. And that means that it's not efficient and is not allowing me to get the full amount of charges gained back from all the monsters I killed. But with this flask being automatic now, it means that it's perfectly optimal every single time. So when you do a map, I can just show you real fast. You go to Blood Aqueducts again, the favorite place I go to test things. When you do it, the flask will not use until at the very end. And that's just the difference of a bot, right? Or not a bot, or something that's automated. So when it's used at the very end, it will only use it again when the flash charges are full. So it is as optimal as possible, and it will use it as soon as the flash charge is full. So this leads it to that you can just keep using it. Now, a lot of people ask, how important is the Overflowing Chalice? And it turns out that the Overflowing Chalice, while it's important, is not really super important if you have flash charges, right? So if you have enough flash charges gained, these flasks will still pop, right? So right here, you kill some mobs, and yeah, it will still pop. And you can see the flasks are still going, and you kill enough mobs. So you can see it's not perfect, but you can make up. So right now I'm not pressing anything again. So right now you can make up for it by having good clear speed, or you can get some flash charges gained from your belt or something. There's a belt called Nomad that gets 50% flash charges gained. So in all honesty, if you have good enough clear speed, you probably don't need the Overflowing Chalice, depending on what you're doing. And you can also get flash charges gained in other places, as if you're not playing Ore Stacker. There's stuff here. There's flash charges gained on the belt. There's also reduced flash charges used. So there's a lot of ways to maybe do this without the Overflowing Chalice. Now, a lot of people might also be wondering, why is this flash triggering when it says use when charges reach full? Because the flasks are full at the start of the map, right? Now, the way it seems to work is that there's like some sort of server tick thing. Now, I'm not really sure about that. Is when you gain charges from killing a mob, when your flasks are already full, it counts as your charges reaching full again. So that's why the flasks get used. I'm not sure if that's a bug or if it's an unintended thing, but that's pretty much what allows us to pretty much play the game now without ever pressing a flask. So if you can get ailment immunity and you have CB immunity in some regard, then you can pretty much play the game with never pressing any of your flasks, and it will be used in the most optimal manner possible. Only time is not optimal is if you're running from pack to pack and you don't actually have the flask up and you want to run faster. So say like you're running from pack to pack, right? And you don't have the flash right now because you haven't killed anything. So you can just press the flash yourself, and you can run there, and then it'll recharge fast enough. So you can see it kind of desyncs it a little bit. But that's pretty much the only time it's not efficient, is when it's already full and you haven't killed a mob to trigger it. So then you can pretty much manually press your Quicksilver flash or something like that to trigger it. But basically, this is a pretty game-changing thing. I think this change alone makes all the bad quality of life features in Expedition go away. It is so nice to be able to not have to frequently play the flask. My hands feel a lot better. My arm feels a lot better after just a few like 3 hours of playing with never pressing any flasks. That really goes to show you that carpal tunnel is a thing, and GGG is causing it partly, but I'm glad they added this in. This is actually pretty life-changing, and probably, I would say, one of the best changes they've added to PoE in the recent years. And who cares if Expedition League is not the most rewarding thing in the world? We don't need to press our flask anymore, or at least I don't. But I don't know how this exactly works with life builds, but credit.
Oh man.
Someone did tell me in stream about this, and I checked it out, and it does seem to be a very good solution. So, shout out to whoever recommended the strategy to me. But this has been an amazing change, and yeah, it makes the Aura Stacker a lot more fun to play, honestly, where you don't need a pressure flask the whole time.
Thought you'd call, but you didn't, so I'm sitting here. Thought I heard my phone ring, but it disappeared. Guess I'm just losing my mind again. I tell myself to breathe in, but the darkness hung its teeth in, and its mind has got me thinking. Sick and tired of feeling, so sick and tired of dreaming, 'cause I always wake up. Sick and tired of believing that this pain will never end. Oh, I've had enough. Cause it always comes back again, and I'm not even gonna pretend that it's okay. Constantly putting bad thoughts on replay. I really don't like living life this way, but I know that these things will never change. Tell myself to breathe in, but the darkness sunk its teeth in, and its mind has got me thinking. So sick and tired of dreaming, 'cause I always wake up. Sick and tired of believing that this pain will never end. Oh, I've had enough. I've had enough. Here we go again. You're not here, you're not here. Settle down in the place of dreams, float away in the scenery. Take a backpack of what you need. Let's explore the world we see. All the dangers have been made up. You believe what they say. Through the heartache, I would stargaze. No invasion today. We've come this far, through wind and rain alone. So take your chances to embrace.
So I included some clips of Stormbrand and then some mapping with Spark. Now Stormbrand is definitely playable. If you want to play Stormbrand, you need to take Runesmith. But personally, Stormbrand clear speed was a little too slow for me, and it didn't feel very good with Explode. So somehow it turns out that Spark is more budget than any of these options. Now, a little good
for a
baseline
deal.
for comparison. If you want to see if your damage is good enough with RF on, I have 517k tooltip. With inspiration, it's around 667. With smite and maps, it's around 2.6 mil with fall haste up. So it's more than enough to clear all the content. In the coming days, I'll try to upload like Feared and Maven Invitation and Maven and all sorts of stuff. So be on the lookout for that. Now, I hope everyone learns how to use these flasks. Maybe the orbs will go up more because people will need to roll it, but this flask might get more expensive too. Some other people made a video about this already, I think, but it should be very exciting. This league is not as bad as it seems. One of my viewers actually gambled a headhunter. So if you just keep gambling, use Gwen the Gambler. You can get Asenavs, you can get this, and then let's see here. I'll probably get something really good here.
Strange equipment at high prices.
Okay, look, a Redeemer
That's the
Topaz
beauty
ring.
of
That's not too
gambling.
bad. I can just convince myself this ring could be worth 20x if I chaosed it or something. But like I said, give the league a chance. I did
Until
find
next
2
time.
logbooks today that I haven't gone, so I don't know if they buffed the drop rate, but that's about it for me, everyone. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the content, be sure to like and subscribe. I stream every single day, and I try to release the videos every day at 8 a.m. PST when I wake up to feed the dogs. But thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope you find more mirrors and exalts than I do, and see you next time.
I'm